Hi guys and welcome to Pushing Polygons. Today we're talking the king of retro consoles. We're talking about the Nintendo 64. It's the home of Mario, Zelda, Banjo-Kazooie, and a slew of others. But before I get into talking about playing this great console on modern displays, I want to know from you guys, what games do you like to play on your N64? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit that like button, slap the subscribe button, and do ding the bell. It'll let you know when new videos go up on the channel. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. The N64 was the Ultra 64 when Nintendo was developing this project. The system had a great lifespan from 1996 all the way through 2001 when Nintendo released the GameCube. There were great hits on the console: Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and many others. But like with all video games, people eventually move on to the next generation until you get the select few like yourselves who do like to go back and experience original games on original hardware. And that is where this beauty here comes in. And I'm going to put up B-roll of this for you all. But this console has a mini HDMI port here on the back. This is the N64 Digital Mod, which allows a complete digital to digital signal from the N64 to a modern display without the need of a converter. We're going to go through some games that I have, as I do have a collection of them here beside me. And we're going to talk a little bit about options, smoothing, resolution that the console will output, and we're going to go and get into that next. Okay guys, so we are in a game right now. I've booted up Mario Kart 64 for our first game, and before we get into anything, maybe we want to play with some of the options on the N64 Digital. Now, I have already set some options, but what we can do is we can explore some of the settings and just see how it changes. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit left bumper, right on the D-pad, and right C button, which will bring up the menu. Now, in the menu, of course, you have options for presets, and as you can see, you use R and L to navigate the menu. Right now, I have this set up to upscale the output to 1600 by 1200. The television I am working on does accept that resolution. I'm working with an LG C9 OLED. Your mileage may vary on what resolutions your television will accept. If you cannot accept the highest resolution that this currently outputs at, you can, of course, select the next lower resolution, which is 1080p. Moving into this, what we're going to do is we're just going to take a quick look at the presets first. We have our current configuration. There's the default configuration. So those are your two presets. So we're going to exit out, and let's again, you can see what my current configuration is down bottom. But in video settings, we have the scaler. So this is going to allow you to scale the image up and down. Now, there is no integer scaling with the N64 Digital, so you don't have to worry about flickering of the image if you're at an integer scale. What you can see, and once I get to a solid screen here, you can see that I'm making this larger and smaller if to fill the screen. What we'll do here is we'll knock it down to 4. That way the image is just a little bit sharper. You can also choose your aspect ratio if you want to. Again, I'm going to wait till this is at a full solid screen so you guys can see that. And right now we're at 4:3. There's 3:2. And then here is 16:9. It does, of course, stretch the screen, but you can fill the screen out. I do usually play in 4:3 for the little bit I have played with this so far. There is also a 5:4. Again, the image looks a little crunched, but it looks a little bit crisper. Now, interpolation, you have off, sharp, soft, softer, and you can kind of see a little bit in this image how that affects it. We'd probably be able to see that more in gameplay. So that's the horizontal interpolation. You also have vertical interpolation. So you can set those independently of each other, but probably want to keep it at the default, which is typically sharp. I have not played with horizontal adjust. Or vertical adjust. Looks like what that does is it moves the image up and down the screen. That way you can orient it the way you would like. We have retro FX settings. These will give you scan lines. I prefer to play without scan lines, but I will turn them on so you guys can see what that looks like. Again, I'm using a full image so you guys can see a little bit in the background of what is appearing there. This is supposed to emulate what a old-fashioned CRT television is going to do. We have just on, we have adaptive, and those are the two options there, and of course you have off. You can adjust the scan line thickness. You can also turn on vertical scan lines, which that actually probably looks more accurate to a television I had as a kid than anything else. Of course, you can do vertical and horizontal. You can make them both adaptive, and then you can change the thickness of the scan line if you're into that type of imagery. Again, these games were made with those types of televisions in mind, so maybe the game looks a little bit better played in this manner. Again, you can kind of see this here. What I'll do is I will play a little bit of this with the preset on, or we'll get into a game. I'll adjust the preset so you guys can see that. Okay, so now that we're in here a little bit, what we'll do here is we will get this menu going. And it does darken the screen, as you can see, when you put more scan lines up, so you may want to decrease the thickness of the scan lines if the image is too dark for your liking. So I'm going to make both the scan lines adaptive. And adaptive scan lines, I feel, actually brightens the image just a little bit. And so you can definitely see, like, in darker images, this definitely has a negative effect. As I said, I'm not personally a fan of this, but that is what this option does. So let's go back and we'll play again a little bit with the scaling so you guys can see that actually in game. And if you're not careful with what buttons you're hitting, you can still play in the menu when the overlay is up. And as you can see, it is when I move up and down the system, it's moving that. And this is why it's safest to do this when you're on the main menu, because there's really not too much else you can do to hurt things. Okay, and again, I'm going to shut this off because this isn't my preferred way to play. But we will go and move that scaler, that zoom scaler down to 4 so you guys can see that. Again, we're going to leave it at sharp. And smoothing. Now, the smoothing is on by default. You can turn the algorithm on, which does make the game look a little bit better. Again, some people like the look. We'll turn it on for purposes of viewing what is on screen. So with that done, oh, and then again, you can change output resolutions. Here are your options. You have the VGA 640 by 480, 40p, 720p, 960p, 1080p, and 1200. Of course, you can see the default resolution of the Nintendo 64 is 320 by 240, which also is one of the benefits of LG OLED, is the fact that it does, at 4K, 240 does go into that. So OLEDs, or at most televisions at 4K, usually play pretty good with classic retro consoles. Just so the video doesn't drop, I'm going to leave the resolution right where it is. This is being recorded in 4K anyway, so I don't know if you'd be able to notice the difference. And even after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a few more games, but we're going to get into this here real quick. Again, I think this looks a lot better, especially on I think this looks a lot better blown up just a little bit more. But again, this is kind of how this looks with the scaling. I think it softens the image just slightly. But what we can do is we can turn off the adaptive smoothing, and I definitely think that sharpens the image a little bit more. It is, at the end of the day, of course, a preference of what you guys really want to see when you're playing your games. But this is just kind of an example of what's going on with N64 Digital. Now, through some of the other games, I won't really be doing a lot of talking. And again, the settings are going to be at 1200 or 1600 by 1200, so 1200p. And there's going to be no smoothing option on, and the scan lines will also be off. So you're going to be seeing the N64 Digital really in its default settings when I put those pieces of content up with this video. And I'll leave time stamps below so you guys will be able to skip to those sections if you so choose. And that's the race. And so we're going to move on to our next game so you guys can see that.
Checkpoint!
So today we've gone over a few games that really bring out the best of the Nintendo 64. We've talked about some options that this HDMI mod does allow you to do with the console. And you may be wondering to yourselves, where do I get something like this? Well, right now, Pixel FX is unfortunately sold out of the N64 digital mods. However, there are modders around the internet that do sell these consoles pre-modded. This is how I bought my system. The company that I bought the system from is One Up Restorations. You can find them at oneuprestorations.com. The console that they sent, just to be aware for everyone out there who might go and look, the console may be of Japanese origin. You'll be able to tell this by the console's model number on the bottom of the system. Now, the console itself is not the important part. What you need to pay attention to is the model number on the power supply. If you're in the United States, you cannot use a Japanese power supply in the United States. The voltage or the current is too much for that power supply. American power supplies are compatible with the Japanese console, so you would have to find an USA N64, North America N64 power supply, and you're able to use it in this console. So guys, I hope you did like this video. Again, if you could hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and do ding the bell. Again, it'll tell you when new videos go up on the channel. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great evening. Take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.